Pawn shop owners, what was the most illegal thing a customer had brought to your shop? Employee not owner. A guy brought in a stack of like 15 laptops that all said property of City Public School right on the top of each one. He then threatened to shoot me when I told him to get out. Edit. Because it's been brought up multiple times. Yes, I am aware that schools, businesses, etc. sometimes sell off old laptops, which is why I don't flat out call the cops whenever somebody brings in a suspected stolen item. There's always the chance that no matter how obviously stolen it is, the person owns it legit. However, I'm not going to risk my job or my conscience by taking in an item if it has a label on it claiming it's somebody else's property. Also, how am I supposed to sell a laptop that says property of City Public Schools on it? Pawn shops have a bad enough rap as it is. I'm not a pawn shop owner, but I know a few. One thing I've seen was a guy who brought in smoke grenades and M249 saw belts that he had stolen from our local military drill center. Another was a guy at a local gun store who brought in a pistol that had an illegal oil filter suppressor on it. They told the guy, get the fuck out and go destroy that thing. A guy literally brought in an RPG. He was doing yard work for this old lady whose husband had passed. She gave it to him for doing some yard work, not realizing it was live and active. The guy was career military, and after the bomb squad came and disabled it, they went to her house and found a trove of similarly very illegal military grade weapons. Just a worker here, but we had a couple come in to pawn their backhoe over the weekend. Happens a lot, and brought their bill of sale. They wanted a simple $1K loan, which wasn't bad considering how much it was worth. No more than 30 minutes later, cops are there with the owner. Apparently they worked for him and went and pawned all of his industrial equipment. How did that go? You had to return it, I assume. Did you get your 1K back from the thief? It went as well as they usually do. Police confiscated the item to use it in court to try and extend the sentence. We lost the 1K because cops tried to tack it on during the legal process. We receive restitution from them for usually a week of about $50 payments and no more payments after, usually because they aren't working or aren't making enough in jail. You always gotta look out for the people bringing in a shit ton of brand spanking new tools or electronics. Over time you learn to read people based on their appearance, behavior, and personal information. An experienced pawnbroker can almost always immediately sleuth out whether they're stolen or not. In these cases, they usually are. I've never had someone intentionally bring in illicit items, but it's important to check pockets and compartments on cases and similar things. It's not unheard of for some eclectic customer to forget about a little baggie of weed they'd stashed. One guy paid off his loan with cash, and there was a thin layer of white residue coating it. First time I'd seen that one. Not illegal, but toward the beginning of the coronavirus outbreak, some wisecrack nutcase did try to sell us disinfectant. Funny but also annoying. So I'm not an owner and I wouldn't call this illegal per se, but I feel like I have to share this. A friend of mine owns a pawn shop, and one day a dude walks in with a cardboard box filled to the top with his own shit. He claims that it's magic and my friend cuts him off right there and kicks him out. As he is walking out, he drops the box on accident, gets all of his shit on the floor, sees the mess he's made, stares at the horrid pile of shit for a couple of seconds, and runs out of the shop. My friend never got his name, and never saw him again. The smell would proceed to linger in the shop for a good month after it was cleaned up. Edit. Typo. Not a pawn shop owner, but I was on the receiving end of someone selling my stolen stuff at one. We had our house burgled. In UK, me and my dad went to some pawn shops to give them a list of everything taken. Whilst we were in there, someone comes up to counter and starts unloading a bunch of stuff they want to pawn. It was our stuff. We got in a major incident inside the shop. The arsehole manager of cash converters was saying it's nothing to do with me. Take it all outside the shop. Sorry buddy, but when you're happy to buy a camera full of someone else's family photos, a laptop, and a bunch of other electronics from two junkies who look like they're homeless, no teeth, obvious signs of drug abuse etc., then it's absolutely 100% your problem to deal with. Police called. Junkies charged with handling stolen goods. I got charged with assault. That was later dropped. Nobody charged with the actual burglary, so no real punishments for anyone involved. Former employee, the most illegal thing brought to my shop was an 8-ball Coke. He wasn't selling it but wanted to buy a digital scale and brought it to test the scales we had. Aside from that, a chainsaw, although not illegal itself, they used it to threaten me, which was pretty illegal. Pawn shops in a big metro get pretty crazy. I used to work in a pawn shop that was just for tools. This guy brought in these really nice top-of-the-line wrenches to sell. He said business was booming and I asked what he did and he said, "You really want to know?" in a scared kind of way. I was like, "Yeah, I'm just making small talk." He said he was a drug dealer, so I said I don't want the wrenches. They were probably stolen. Not a pawn shop but a local buy-sell trade electronics game store. To preface, we didn't carry any new items, so we usually paid out decently well for newer games and consoles, etc. Dude comes in on the release day for Call of Duty, Black Ops 2 with, and I shit you not, 26 copies of the game. They all were pristine but open, but come on, this shit was a walking red flag. I take one look, count the stack, then tell him I can't buy them in good faith because this shit is suspicious as all hell. He gets all butthurt and tries to claim that his mother bought them all with her credit card and wanted him to sell them for her. Just politely yet firmly told the dude to scram. Employee here, not an owner. But I don't know if it's necessarily illegal, but one time a guy brought me a handful of human teeth with bloody roots and gold filings. He wanted me to extract the gold. I said no thanks bro. I own a video game store. Had a guy come in with a red special edition PS3 when they were popular. It had an engraving on the bottom that said property of Isa Home, which is one of those rent-to-own places where you pay 3000% the value of something over 8 years type of places. I asked him for it and he said, "I'm in your system," and I said, "Our system requires it no matter what." Then he said the other guy said, "I don't need it." I asked what did he look like. He asked why. I replied, "So I can fire him." He said, "Must have been another shop." Sure buddy. I explain again, "Look, I need it or I can't buy anything. It's not me being difficult, it's the law." He said, "I know the law. I'm a thief." Well, no shit, I couldn't tell. So I picked up the phone and started to call the number on the bottom and he booked it out of the store. Kinda related, but 2 years later he came running in all frantic asking to use our phone to call 911. I let him and he started screaming at the police that his landlord was holding his rent check. They told him it wasn't their problem and hung up. He called back again and threatened them and then hung up on them. Around here if you hang up on 911 they come ASAP for any reason. Within 1 minute the police were there and reamed him out for wasting their time. The second the cop turned and opened the door of the store to leave, this guy, who was like 5 feet 2 inches, punched the cop, who was like 6 feet 5 inches 320 pounds monster, in the back of the head as hard as he could. The cop swung around at full speed, grabbed the dude by the face and with one hand carried him out of the store and slammed him against the brick wall so hard the windows shook. He cuffed him, all bloody and messed up, and with one hand threw him in the back of the cop car like a gym bag. It was pretty nuts. Not an owner but an employee. A man brought in a bag of cocaine and said if I would buy it then resell it back to him in a couple of days. "Hey boss, this guy just sold us 10 kilos of cocaine and wants to buy it back in a few days. Weird, what's the point in just exchanging 5 kilograms of drugs back and forth? Is this some sort of scam? I dunno. When he comes back to pick up his 2.5 kilograms we'll have to ask about that." Honest answer, it's a pretty low effort scam if the person you're scamming is just a little bit shady and also doesn't know about the scam. 1 fill a bag with 1 bottle of talcum powder. Wrap that shit up tightly so it looks legit. 2 offer to pawn it for a few days. Probably for a bit less. That street value. So shady pawn shop guy thinks he's going to make money. 3 never come back. What are you gonna do? Go to the police and tell them you tried to buy a brick of coke. It's a variation of the glass ring scam but with the bonus that you'll never get the police called on you.